Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving right into the astrological mechanics behind a wildly relatable human struggle. Have you ever felt this endless, almost restless urge to find the absolute perfect living situation? It's that nagging feeling that keeps you scrolling through real estate listings even when you literally just signed a new lease. Or maybe you're rearranging your furniture every other week. Well, in astrology, this constant pursuit of comfort is deeply connected to one specific placement: Rahu in the fourth house.
So we start with a universally frustrating experience, right? It's the feeling that no matter how cozy or comfortable a house looks on the outside, something internally just feels kind of incomplete. You get the keys, you unpack all the boxes, you hang up your art, but that deep sigh of relief, it just never quite arrives. And that leads us to a much deeper question. Why does home never feel completely settled?
Okay, let's quickly map out our journey for today. We'll be hitting 1. The endless search for home, 2. Clash of the cosmos, 3. Real-world disruptions, 4. When other planets interfere, 5. Unconventional living, and 6. The ultimate lesson.
Starting right off with Section 1, the endless search for home, seeking emotional roots.
Under this placement, the native often firmly believes that the very next house, the next city, or the next environment is going to be the one that finally brings them absolute peace. It's like, if I just move to the suburbs, or, if I just move to the city, everything will be perfect. But that feeling of total satisfaction, it stays incredibly distant. The physical home is definitely there. The walls are up, the roof is solid, but emotional belonging simply takes a lot longer to develop. It's just a fundamental mismatch between the physical address and the emotional reality.
Moving on to Section 2, Clash of the Cosmos, Opposing Cosmic Forces.
So here is the root conflict. On one hand, the fourth house represents our deep need for serene emotional roots, inner peace, and a private sanctuary. But on the other hand, you have Rahu. And Rahu represents uncertainty, intense desires, and sudden changes. So Rahu basically injects this otherwise peaceful space with a chaotic, desire-driven energy that is just constantly searching. Honestly, it's literally like trying to meditate in the middle of a bustling train station.
Which brings us to Section 3, real-world disruptions, everyday unpredictability.
So how does this actually play out? Well, the symptoms usually show up as sudden unpredictability in your immediate surroundings. A perfectly quiet environment can just suddenly become terribly noisy. Or a friendly neighbor can, seemingly out of nowhere, become super difficult. What we're seeing is a restless relationship with the environment that leads to frequent moves. Plus, there is this massive hypersensitivity to the local atmosphere. The person might notice these tiny irregularities, like a weird hum from the street lamp outside, or a really minor shift in the neighborhood vibe that everyone else is completely ignoring. And these little things, they create disproportionate distress, making the native feel like their peace is only ever temporary.
Let's look at Section 4, when other planets interfere, planetary modifiers.
Now, depending on the planetary modifier, this fourth house restlessness takes on a totally different flavor. If Mars influences Rahu, the native might face sudden conflicts. We're talking aggressive boundary issues, property disputes, or this constant feeling that they have to defend their personal space. If Saturn is involved, the vibe is much heavier. Think long-term housing challenges, delays in property matters, and this grueling, forced patience against Rahu's natural urgency. Mercury? Well, Mercury brings communication issues, where one tiny statement can suddenly spiral into neighborhood rumors or massive misunderstandings. And Venus? Venus ramps up the desire for a luxurious, beautiful home, which causes the person to chase this completely unrealistic expectation of external perfection while completely overlooking their own inner emotional needs.
Furthermore, the moon determines the actual depth of this entire experience. The moon basically dictates how the person handles all this external chaos. A strong moon, that acts as a shield. It provides emotional stability, allowing the native to adapt to changes and maintain inner calm regardless of external uncertainty. But a sensitive moon creates a constantly unsettled feeling. The person might obsess over these environmental disturbances, carrying neighborhood drama at home issues in their thoughts for a really long time, just entirely unable to let them go.
All right, Section 5, Unconventional Living, the Silver Lining.
Here's the thing. Rahu in the fourth house isn't always a curse. Actually, it can be incredibly liberating. It can completely break traditional patterns and inspire the native to create a highly unique, totally non-traditional home life. We very often see unusual living experiences here. Maybe that's living abroad, connecting with different cultures, or buying highly unique properties like, say, a converted warehouse or a tiny home.
Rahu breaks down those old ideas of traditional comfort and opens up brand new, exciting ways to define what a home can actually look like. And finally, Section 6, the ultimate lesson, philosophical truth. The absolutely crucial point to remember here is that a perfect house cannot guarantee peace. Complete control over your external environment? It's entirely impossible. A beautifully manicured lawn and a perfectly quiet neighborhood are not going to remove every uncertainty from your life. The sooner the native stops trying to control the uncontrollable external world, the sooner they can get down to the real work. This placement beautifully teaches us that Rahu creates all this external movement specifically to encourage internal growth. We basically have to completely reframe what home actually is. It is an emotional anchor rather than a physical address. True comfort arrives when the mind learns to remain balanced despite the changing surroundings. The walls are going to change, the furniture is going to change, but that inner stability, that has to become your true sanctuary.
The search for the perfect physical house might continue endlessly, and honestly, that's okay. But real peace only begins when your heart finds stability within itself. External surroundings may shift and change dozens of times over a lifetime, yet inner calm can become the one constant place that always feels like home. So, I'm going to leave you with this question to ponder. Can you stop looking outward and finally find the one place that always feels like home within yourself? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this helps you build a more peaceful foundation wherever you happen to be.